The worst-kept secret of all time has finally started to unveil itself. After the recent publication of a document in Morocco, it seems like Porsche has committed to a long-term relationship with Red Bull. However, their partnership is much more devoted to each other than you would think. Stay tuned to find out as we reveal all the latest details. Rumors started at the beginning of the season that the Volkswagen Group would love to enter the sport in 2026. Two of its most profitable and well-known branches have been given the green light to negotiate with F1 teams regarding their entrance into the sport. These branches were Porsche and Audi, with both of them seeking different constructors in the sport. The first one, Porsche, was related to Red Bull since it had been known that they want to enter the sport, while Audi has been related to multiple teams such as McLaren, Williams and Sauber. Red Bull is currently using its own powertrains and will continue to do so until 2026. This is when Honda is supposed to pull out of the sport for good, as they are currently providing and supporting the powertrain of Red Bull. This is why the team was forced to look in another direction, but fortunately they didn't have to look far to find their next potential partner. A deal seems to have been struck between Porsche and Red Bull, and although it was supposed to be announced at the Austrian GP, the home race of Red Bull, the regulations from 2026 and beyond weren't affirmed and approved prior to that race. However, a document has been published by the Moroccan government stating that Porsche intends to buy 50% of Red Bull Technology, the company that provides Red Bull with all the parts they need for racing. It's said that after this deal, Porsche will look to buy out a huge part of Red Bull Racing itself, with the percentage being 50%. One would ask himself, what does Morocco have to do with it? Since F1 is a large competition, the companies of Porsche and Red Bull need to respect a bunch of competition laws, and one of these laws is that anti-cartel authorities need to give the green light. They would have to affirm that there was nothing untoward in the two companies joining up. This also needs to be done in the European Union, but these applications have been lodged in more than 20 countries outside the European Union, with one of them being Morocco. Well, you might be thinking, why has the Moroccan government published a document? Well, because the government legislation stipulates that applications are subject to mandatory publication once approved. It is already more than clear that Porsche has committed to Red Bull, but in what way? The document itself doesn't say anything about Red Bull Racing, just Red Bull Technology. This means that Porsche is more than dedicated to providing not just engines, but other components of an F1 car. Although they will likely continue with the buyout and control a huge portion of Red Bull Racing, they will likely rename the name to Red Bull Porsche from 2026 and onwards. This is quite a bold move from Porsche. This deal is specifically for Red Bull and Porsche, and although the sister company of Red Bull, AlphaTauri, isn't involved in the deal, it's likely that they'll hop along and will use the same engine as Red Bull from 2026 and onwards. This just goes to show that the Volkswagen Group and Porsche mean business, and they weren't waiting for the 2026 regulations just to be a small part of the sport. However, one couldn't help but worry about Red Bull's possible exit from F1. Since the team has sold 50% of Red Bull Technology to Porsche, worries have emerged that they might look forward to selling the rest of the team too. After all, it's an attractive market since Red Bull is successful in F1 and highly competitive, so the bidding process for it should be a juicy one. There is a change in generations at Red Bull, as Dietrich Mateschitz, the co-founder of Red Bull, is currently 78 years old. The team needs to look in another direction when it comes to the future, and rumors have emerged that the ownership of Red Bull is kind of an unstable one. This deal, however, sealed the future for Red Bull, as Porsche seems to be the perfect partner for them. Porsche has had some success in Formula 1 and has had massive experience in other racing competitions. Porsche is a well-known branch with a high reputation, so nothing could go wrong in terms of professionalism and approach to work, right? In addition, Red Bull was forced out of their relationship with Honda after the Japanese team announced that they will exit the sport in 2026, will continue to support Red Bull's powertrain. But now that the Japanese team saw that Red Bull made a partnership with Porsche, and with the possible emergence of Audi, Honda has started talking about a possible comeback from 2026 and onwards. It was obvious that Red Bull was looking for this kind of deal, thanks to them building the powertrain facilities. Now that they have everything, they just needed a big name, someone with lots of experience and funding, so that they could help them with building the perfect F1 engine and the other components like the chassis. Porsche has seen the potential in these powertrains and in Red Bull in general, and with Max Verstappen being locked up until 2028, it could be very possible that the team team earns a championship on their first try in 2026. Therefore, an exit from the sport is less likely to happen to Red Bull. With what they did now with Porsche, the team is looking to the long-term future, as you don't build powertrain facilities if you want to fall back from the sport anytime soon. It's a win-win deal, because Porsche won't have to build their own facilities or construct anything related to the sport. They'll just have to use the powertrains of Red Bull. For Red Bull, they have the ground. They just need the engines and all the other components to get to the next level. Red Bull has been kind of held back by engine manufacturers, mostly because the team itself didn't have powertrains back in the day and had to rely on other engine manufacturers. They used Ferrari's engine, then they turned to Renault, with which they won 4 championships in a row, and with Honda, they managed to win the first Drivers' Championship after 7 years of waiting. Now, with the powertrain facilities in place, the team has more independence and can choose its own fate, as it seems like they have turned their heads towards Porsche. Apart from Porsche, Audi is also looking for an entrance into the sport. The other Volkswagen branch has contacted multiple teams, such as McLaren, Williams and Aston Martin. However, a partnership with either of these has been highly doubtful due to the nature of the teams. Audi has focused on another team that has been subject to buyouts multiple times in its existence: Sauber. The German brand is looking to purchase around 75% of the stakes in Sauber, and many believe that their partnership will come out before the Porsche Red Bull one. One major thing that has motivated Audi and Porsche to enter the sport is the budget cap. With the new restrictions on spending, the teams and manufacturers are basically forced to design the best F1 engine and the best F1 car overall, least amount of money. Why would a brand be attracted to this? Well, it's simple, because they'll be able to show their ability to build reliable, fast and powerful engines within the budget cap. Also, let's not forget the number one reason why Volkswagen wanted to enter the sport in the first place. It's because they judged that F1 was moving in the right direction. This means that starting in 2026, electrification and the use of sustainable fuel will be more than enough for Audi and Porsche to dive into the sport in the ways they always intended. It's worth mentioning that the 2026 engine regulations haven't been 100% finalized, which means that there won't be any rubber stampings from both the German brands until this is done and finalized. This is one of the reasons why their partnership is prolonged for so long and why it's labeled as the worst kept secret at all times. It seems like we're in it for a good season from 2026 and beyond. There is an engine freeze rule from 2023 and up until 2026, meaning that the current manufacturers cannot develop their engines further and they have to work with what they have as of now. So 2026 could be the next season for a team to make a breakthrough season. As of now, Red Bull and Sauber have been the most active teams in this field. Check out the next video here. Take care and drive safely.